The US Treasury is finally going to put a woman on our currency, but the Treasury has to create a vacancy first. If you had to bump someone off America's legal tender, who would prevail as a better representative of U.S. history and the economy? Alexander Hamilton on the $10 bill, a founding father of our first U.S. Treasury Secretary. He established our national bank, and he was a big supporter of the anti-slavery movement. So you would think that he should stay. Then there's Andrew Jackson, the 7th president of the United States, who is on the $20 bill, though no one really knows why. He was a wealthy slave owner, was nicknamed Indian Killer for forcibly moving Native Americans off their land. He restricted the use of paper money, and his economic policies are credited with causing the financial panic of 1837. So maybe he should go. However, Treasury Secretary Jack Lew announced that Jackson stays, and Hamilton will have to share space with the new addition, whoever that is. Why? Well, joining us to tell us more is Scott Travers. He's currency expert, and he's the author of The Insider's Guide to U.S. Coin Values. Scott, welcome back to Arise Exchange. This surprised a lot of people. We knew that there was talk of putting a woman on one of our dollar bills, but we thought it was going to be the 20 because no one really likes Andrew Jackson.
Well, the fact of the matter is, by putting a woman on the $10 note, you're actually giving even greater attention to the person who's already on the $10 note. This is a tremendous credit to Alexander Hamilton, who's on the note.
There's a few different concepts they're coming up with. One
well,
is
Alexander Hamilton isn't leaving the note. This is
well, that's what we're not sure.
And this is far off. There are a lot of questions on this. I mean, we're looking at something out into
5 years. Yeah, they're looking at 2020,
2020,
which I'm going to ask you about in a moment. But there's some ideas that they're going to share space on the note. Well, that's never happened before, right? Or
I don't think they're going to share space. I think they're going to alternate this. And this really has happened before because it happened with coins. The United States had a U.S. quarter program. And America's state quarters were among the greatest continuity program that the U.S. Mint ever launched. 140 million Americans were collecting these quarters. And you had reverses of the quarters sharing the coin with George Washington on the front.
Okay, but those are coin collectors. We don't collect currency so much, do we? I mean, we collect older currency, certainly, but we use it more. And the 20 is what the ATM spit out at you.
We collect everything. Right. And the fact of the matter is, just by you and me sitting here talking about it, it's gaining attention for notes. We're going to see people in the school system who are going to be focusing on the education of Hamilton and Jackson and the possible people who could be on these notes. We're looking at Rosa Parks, possibly.
Well, let's talk about who
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Rosa Parks,
possibly.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Right. I mean, this is very exciting stuff to see abolitionists Harriet Tubman to possibly be on this note.
There's an article by my friend on CNBC today who says that Muriel Siebert should be on, who has got the first seat on the New York Stock Exchange. Probably not going to happen. Why is this going to take 5 years to do?
Well, we have this in the hopper already. And in 2013, it was already decided that the $10 note was going to be redesigned. We're redesigning all pieces of currency in the United States for both security purposes, anti-counterfeiting. We have all these laser jet machines out there that can make copies, and we need to put security precautions in these. And we have to put in special precautions for the visually impaired.
Interestingly, this is a decision made entirely by the president, pretty much, isn't it, and the Treasury Secretary?
It seems to be
Congress
that
doesn't
way.
Get involved.
It seems to be that way, but you know, this is so far off, 5 years off, a lot of things can happen.
Why is it taking us so long to put a woman on our currency? We tried it on coins, Susan B. Anthony and the dollar. Nobody used the dollar because they confused it with the quarter and they throw it into toll machines. I remember people complaining about it.
We've
been
had
very
women on currency before.
Martha Washington?
Yes, well, we've had Pocahontas also on a silver certificate. Martha Washington technically made 2 appearances on silver certificates, and Pocahontas made 1. And it's not really the first time. We've also had composite figures of women, not actual people who lived, but composites put together by artists.
The only standard is you're not allowed to be alive, I understand, right?
That's the standard for this.
Do you have a choice as to who you'd like to see on the
No, but I have to tell you, I'm calling here and now for all U.S. currency to undergo this type of transformation because it's such a patriotic symbol and such an important boon to collecting, and it brings in possibly billions of dollars to the Treasury. This is amazing.
And we shouldn't get politically correct here, right? We should look look at everybody who's on these bills and really determine who's legitimately should be on it and not.
The politically correct thing is to educate as many Americans in our school system as possible, and that's what this does. And by doing this on more notes, we're going to educate even more people, and it's going to bring money into the Treasury.
It's true. I don't think kids are being taught about Alexander Hamilton or Jackson or most of it, maybe George Washington, but we don't really teach who's on the bills.
And our politicians with these deficits really aren't paying all that much attention to making things, making money and making billions. And this can make billions because people will hoard and accumulate these notes and not spend them. They'll collect them.
Scott Travers, the author of The Insider's Guide to U.S. Coin Values. Thank you so much.
Andrew, thank you for having me on again.